Hi, everybody. Welcome to the live. What is the one thing that could change everything? So I've been really thinking about this week as I've, been talking to a lot of new members in the group, and I've been talking to people about what their struggles are. And I've been really thinking, a lot of people struggle with dating. A lot of people struggle with finding love. A lot of people have tried many different things. And so I posted in this group, and I also posted on my own personal Facebook page, what is the one thing that could change everything? And it was really interesting to see people's responses. So I just wanted to share again this last little presentation with you. So let me share my screen. Whoops, sorry. Taking me a minute. File, view, slideshow. All right, so what is the one thing that could change everything? So as I said, I posted in this group, I posted on my Facebook, with my Facebook friends, and here's what people had to say. It can really be grouped into three areas. External changes. A lot of people said lose weight, own a house, have financial security, more money. A lot of people said that. Be in a relationship, right? Health. A lot of people mentioned that, and health may not seem like an external change, but it's a physical change, right? It's a physical change. So then there's internal changes. Some people said have more confidence. A lot of people said have more confidence. Be enlightened. A lot of people had different things of, different spiritual things that they wanted to achieve. Inner peace, peace of mind. I heard that a lot too. And then there was the past regrets. I wish I would have gone to college. I wish I would have not gotten involved with a scammer. I wish I had a conversation before it's too late. I wish I wouldn't have lost loved ones, right? Some regrets about the past. Those were kind of the three general areas that I noticed that people had to say about what they think could change everything. And here's what some of our own gorgeous savvy ladies said. So Tara said, if I could wave a magic wand, I would change whatever it is that blocks me from finding love. It's like fighting a battle not fully equipped. Spinning wheels, I think Pam calls it. So that's really a great analogy, Tara. And then Marie said that I'm not good enough. And Lisa had a variation of that as well, which was love myself first and not depend on the relationship to save me or complete me. I know many times people think, if I could just have this relationship, then I would be happy. Then things would be better. And Terry said, let go of perfectionism. So it's interesting. Most of you ladies all have internal, right? So I could tell you've done some growth work because you all have internal things that you want to have shifted rather than external things, which is really great. That's a really good, awareness that to shift inside, you need to shift inside in order to shift outside. Many people think if I just get this, then I'll be happy. But really, it's the other way around. Okay. So for every person, there is one major shift that they need to have that could change everything. One shift, one breakthrough, that aha moment. But before I tell you, I want to share something that I've also found to be very interesting, an observation that I've made lately. So I want to ask you, if you wanted to learn to play the guitar, if you wanted to run a marathon, if you wanted to learn how to build a business online, Many of you know I used to do online business coaching, right? If you want to learn how to be a doctor or be a nurse, what would you do? So what would you do if you wanted to learn any of these things? So people say, you know, I would take lessons, I would sign up for a training group, I would go to school, I would find somebody who knows how to do this. Okay. Okay. So basically, you would learn how. You would find somebody to teach you how to do these things, right? You probably wouldn't just pick up a guitar and just think you were going to be able to just start playing. And if you ran into, and if you had the sheet music in front of you, you probably would need to learn how to read that sheet music, right? And marathons, I mean, really the only way that you can run a marathon is to train, and it's very hard to do without a training group. So people who run marathons do the best by getting support. And as we know, all, you know, athletes have a coach or somebody to help them. But what I find with finding love that's very interesting is that what I hear all the time is, you know, it's too much money, I'm going to try it on my own, or maybe in a few months. And having done business coaching and this coaching, I just find it really interesting. It's just a pattern that I see, that this comes up all the time. And I never, ever really hear these things with business coaching. So I just was really curious. I really am curious, like why? I really am curious why this is. And so particularly, like a lot of people I've talked to, you know, they've been dating for a long time, or they've been single for a long time, and they've had these dating experiences like, you know, getting ghosted. They've had experiences where they've gotten in relationships with somebody and they've been with them for, you know, sometimes years. Sometimes they've been in a lot of short-term relationships and they've ended badly, and they've had their heart broken, and they've had their self-esteem affected, you know, and they've kind of felt bad about themselves and they've needed to recover. So that's getting in relationships with the wrong men, or, you know, not knowing how to navigate the relationship to having a commitment. And sometimes people just aren't meeting anybody at all. I've talked to several women who just have not met anybody, or very few people. So if you have these experiences, and even what Tara said back here, where she said, whatever's blocking me, it's like fighting a battle and not feeling fully equipped, right? So it's like trying to read sheet music without knowing how to read, without ever somebody telling you, oh, this is how you read music. Oh, here's what the chords are. There literally is a skill to dating and learning dating skills. And I know, you know, a lot of other well, I'll talk about that in a second. So I've been talking to women this week who've invested in other coaching programs, who've invested a lot in other coaching programs. And essentially, you know, things were overpromised and underdelivered. You know, they did a lot of, and I've had a lot of clients like this. Like, I learned a lot about myself. I, you know, healed some things from the past. I, you know, learned how to be more open. You know, I learned, you know, to make peace with my relationship with my father, whatever. And all that stuff is really great. And all that stuff is important, but it's just still, it's not results. It's just not results. So where are the tangible results? You know, and then I've talked to people who have invested in other things like shopping, going shopping and buying a new wardrobe, you know, in having profile makeovers, professional pictures. I have a lot of women that had, you know, professional pictures taken, and who paid people for that. And that is all very important. It's like the first step, but still, if you don't know how to date, and you don't know how to date and have results, what is the point? And I've also talked to so many women who've been like, I've been working on myself for 10 years. I've done all this personal growth. I took some time off and I did a bunch of personal growth. And now I'm ready to get back out there. So I asked them, well, what are you going to do? And I can see right now that they're going to get back out there and have the exact same results, because I still can see that they just really don't know. They don't know how to date, and they really still don't know exactly what they're looking for or how to navigate through all the noise that is the dating world out there, and all the noise in your head. And then when you meet somebody, like, how do you talk to them? How do you go from single to being in a committed relationship? How do you navigate sex? How do you navigate issues like, do I go to your house? Do you go to mine? How do you navigate, when you meet them? How do you navigate not going out with the wrong person? How do you navigate not becoming a serial dater and having like 40 first dates? How do you find that balance so that you're actually only spending time with people who have relationship potential? How do you know how to do all of these things? And many women will sit there and say to me, I don't know. I don't know how to do all these things. I don't know. I don't know how I'm going to get from where I am now to where I want to be. Nobody has ever really been able to give me a clear answer. But then yet, they still say these things. I'm going to try it on my own. It's too much money right now, maybe in a few months. I had one woman tell me it's too much money and I'm going to try it on my own. And she ended up going online and getting completely scammed for $40,000. And this is a really true story. She, didn't want to spend $1,000 to continue coaching with me. And she just did my program. And it was a very elaborate romance scam. There's some very brilliant scammers out there, but she was able to liquidate $40,000 and wire transfer it to somebody where it was just based on like a name or a password. They didn't even have to show ID, and it was like gone. So I just know that when you're motivated for something, you can come up with the money, because she thought that she was going to spend the rest of her life with this guy and they were going to use this money for his business to build their life together. So, and then I had another woman who said, I don't have it's too much money right now, but she was doing a vacation, an elaborate vacation to Europe. Or people make momentum and they start to see progress and they start to get ready. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to stop right now for a minute. I'm just going to take a break. Oh, I'm going to do these other things. Or, oh, I'm going to try it on my own. And knowing that trying it on your own means you're probably not going to have any success or any results. So why would somebody say they're going to try it on their own when deep inside they know that if they do it on their own, they're not going to have results? Why? It's an interesting question to ask. So for each person, that one thing that needs to be changed is different. It's unique to every person, but it usually involves one of these three things or a combination. That a core belief needs to be shifted. I mean, sometimes you can just shift a core belief and everything in your life can change. I'm going to do an interview in a little bit with one of the people in the group about how with her, the core belief, and then just like her whole life changed within, a few days. Many times you just need the real practical dating skills, like a really how to date, what to do, what to say, what to write in the email, what steps to take, where do you meet? What do you say on a date? Okay, now we've been dating. Now I need a commitment. What do I do to get the commitment? What questions do I ask? How do I communicate with this person? What little items need to be checked off in order for me to know that I can move into a committed relationship? How much time do I need to spend with somebody? How many dates do I need to go on? How long do I need to know them? How do they need to act before I have sex with them? What do I need to know about them before I commit to them? When do I know it's time to commit? Just some really practical skills for navigating those really difficult areas. And sometimes, especially if you lack confidence, like if you're one of those people that said, I lack confidence, sometimes all you need is someone to hold your hand. And that is the confidence alone that you need to get out there, because if you're doing it on your own, it's just too overwhelming. And that's all you need. And once you have that, then everything changes as well. But for every single person, there is one thing that is required to have true love. There is one thing that is required to have the commitment that you want, and that is commitment. It's so interesting that, so many of my clients, the people who come to me through my book, Girl's Guide to the Unavailable Man, and who come to me saying, I just can't get a guide to commit. I just can't get a guide to commit. And yet those are many times the same people who aren't committed themselves. So when push comes to shove, it's like, are you going to do what it takes? Are you going to have the hard communication? Are you going to have the conversation that's scary and difficult? Are you going to do what's needed to be done online in order to meet somebody that you are attracted to and that you like and that shares your values? Are you going to do what it takes? Because to have your dream, it requires commitment. And when I taught the manifestation, there was the inspired action, and then there was the course correct, right? The learning, the inner growth, and then the inspired action and the course correct and the inner growth. What most people do is action, action, action. Things don't work out. They get discouraged. Their self-esteem takes a hit. Things that they don't want come up, and then they stop, and then they do personal growth for a really long time, or just take a break and try to figure it out on their own. And then they go back out and date, and the same thing happens again, that vicious cycle that Tara was talking about. But when you're committed, you take action. Yes, you take a break. You could take a break. You know when you need a rest, right? You know when it's time to rest, but then you course correct and you try again. So Airbnb, those guys, they failed something like 12 times before Airbnb took off, like 12 times. I don't know if you remember Apple. Apple was like at the top of their game, and then he got fired and it was done. He wasn't even doing it. They let him go, and then he came back, and then they got the iPhone, and now they're really at the top of their game. It takes commitment. And sometimes there's the fear. If you have that fear of I'm not good enough, right? Then doing it on your own is a great way to hide behind that fear, because you won't succeed, and you kind of know you won't succeed. So then you don't have to take action, and then you don't have to course correct. And sometimes there's the fear of failure. I was talking to a woman today, and she's like, what if at the end of the day, I'm just not enough? What if at the end of the day, because of my personality, because of this, that, and the other thing, that I'm just, not equipped to be in a relationship? And then there's the fear of making another mistake. And yeah, I mean, like my client that got embezzled, my former client, she was not with me at that time at all, who got embezzled out of $40,000. You really don't ever want to make that mistake, right? That's a hard, bitter pill to swallow. One of the people online said, I wish I never gotten taken by that scammer. It's happening to a lot of people. It's how do you get past that? But if you're really committed, then you do for what you desire. So here's when you should not go for it. Okay. Here's when you should not go for it. If you're right now having a serious health crisis, we heard from a lot of people, you know, on my page that were like, my health, my health, my health. I mean, if you have cancer and you're going through chemo, I had one woman that called me because she wanted to find love. And as we started chatting, it turns out she had an alcohol problem. And I'm like, you need to address this first. You need to go into a rehab. You need to go into AA. You need to get that handled. You know, if you're having a serious financial crisis, if you can't feed your children, if you can't pay the rent, or if your intuition, not the monkey mind that talks you out of doing things, not the part of you that, as Mel Robbins says, that if you don't take action in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it just becomes that thing that you think about doing all the time that you never do, right? But if your real intuition's telling you now isn't the time, maybe it is your time for a rest, but not your fear and not your resistance. And I'll tell you that the clients that are really committed, you know, that show up for the appointments, that do the dating, that follow the coaching, they all have success because having a relationship is something everybody can have, something everybody can have. Okay. So there we go. That was my training for you all. I want to mention that if you're thinking about the Jumpstart program, the doors close on Monday. So on Monday, the cart closes. The opportunity to do the Jumpstart program comes to an end. And so if you're thinking like, I don't know if this is, I want to do it, but I'm not sure about the timing, but you have questions, then jump on my calendar. I've made my calendar open, and I'll talk to people. I'll talk to you guys and answer your questions. I'm not into a hard sell at all, but I'm also really, really, I'm passionate about going for your dreams. I'm really passionate about it. The reason the whole challenge was about taking action is because so many people just live their life in the status quo, and they never go for the things that they want the most because it also scares them the most. And I know that if you're ready, that I can get you what you need. Every day I've been posting the different testimonials, the different stories of my clients who found love through working with me. And it is really possible. My system works, and I intuitively know what people need to get what they want. So I'm going to put in the comments a link to my calendar, book a time to talk to me. If you can't get in before the carts close on Monday, because we're coming up on the weekend, then just, shoot me a message. Okay. So I have loved being in the group. And of course, you're still in the group and you're still with me, which is awesome. Feel free to shoot me any questions you have. Or again, let's chat. Let's talk about it. Okay. Love you guys.